I believe that we all have the right to be the very best version of ourselves, and that the biggest lesson I've learned in life is that often our harshest critic is ourselves, and the person that gets in our way the most is us. And once we recognise that, and once we're able to find a way to move out of our way, then actually it's up to us what we achieve. It's entirely in our gift, just what we can deliver. And as long as we're kind and we're not hurting others and we're trying to leave things in a better place than we found them, then really there should be nothing to stop us from going out and really achieving our dreams. And then I looked and realised that in bringing up my little girl, in trying to ensure that I leave the world a better place than I found it, in trying to show her that actually we have an opportunity to make a difference. We have an opportunity to leave things better than we found them, and that there's nothing she can't do. And I try and bring her up to realise that as long as she's kind, that she should stay curious, that she should dream big, and she should believe, because she's proof that miracles happen. And actually each of us is proof that miracles happen to somebody. And I realised that we teach our children through stories, and we learn ourselves through stories, and how we bring those together and how they conjure up in us a picture and a scene and sounds and a memory that we want to revisit and recapture again. But children don't just learn from the words that we use. They learn by imitation. They learn by watching what we do. And so I realised that whilst I'm telling her to be brave and to stay curious and to try, I'm not actually demonstrating that. So just over a year ago, I was getting ready to set up my own business. I was facing a health scare and awaiting the outcome of some test results. And I knew things weren't quite right at home. I knew something wasn't as it should be. And I put that down to the stress of the situation, of dealing with the unknown and the uncertainty of what was potentially a terrible illness. But it wasn't quite that. And it turns out that my husband was struggling to deal with all of the challenges and had gone on to have an affair. And in that moment, everything crumbled, and all my focus suddenly became about getting us rebuilt. My life as it was shattered, but I had a little girl to look after, and all of a sudden, overnight, was catapulted into being an unemployed single mum facing surgery. And that is how you could view it, or you could look at it and say, you've got a little person who didn't ask to be born and is looking to you for inspiration of how they get through. So I dusted myself off and very quickly got myself an interim role within a few days, and put my business idea on hold. And then stability became so important that actually I got frightened. I got too scared to go out and try and do what I've wanted to do for years. And a year on, I ended up, unfortunately, in intensive care, and suddenly realised whilst I've worked really hard and I've rebuilt my life and I've got a home for my little girl and I've managed to deal with everything financially, and most people have no idea that I went through any of these things in the last year, I've still not really been honest. I've still not really given myself the opportunity to live my dream, to be the real me. And yet I absolutely believe that in leadership and in life, the things that are most important are authenticity, integrity, and the legacy. What are we leaving behind for us? And so I've decided to dig deep and take the plunge and try to put myself out there, to set up my business, doing coaching and mentoring, which I've been doing in the jobs I've done for a lot of years, and also share my story. So I look at the journey I've been on, and I left school at 15 with some GCSEs, desperate to be a hairdresser. It's all I wanted to be. And I did that and set my own business up, ran that, and then found out I was severely allergic to perm lotion, which in the 90s was not such a good thing to be. And I couldn't even be there when other people were having a perm. So I had to sell my business and work out what to do next. My lifelong career dream had just come to a halt. And so I got a 15-hour-a-week temporary contract at a local bank up to while I worked out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I'm 20 odd years on and still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but have managed to secure some fantastic jobs. I've met some amazing and inspirational people along the way, made it up to C-suite in FTSE 250 companies despite not having a degree or diplomas. And I'm fortunate to have some amazing testimonials and references from major CEOs around the UK, and got to be a keynote speaker for the likes of the Financial Times and also for E.ON and a variety of other companies. And yet still, like many women, I still doubted, was I enough? Was I good enough? What would people think? And it's dawned on me that actually people are going to think what people think. People have already got a view of my life and what I do. People have already got a view of me and whether or not I do a good job or not a good job, or whether or not I think too much or too little of myself. It doesn't change me or my life. What it did do was stop me trying. It stopped me putting myself out there and saying, I think I can help. Because actually I've been coaching myself as my own hardest critic for coming up for 46 years. And I think I've done an all right job. So I'm looking forward to the next 46 years and to hopefully being able to share some of what I've learned to help other people to unlock their potential.